I can't believe this is my life right now. Oh my gosh. What a way to end the season. Oh my god. They did it! At long last, the streak is finally over. It's over. All the pain and misery we've gone through ends today. The Bears win over the Packers for the first time in 12 tries and for the first time since I've started this channel. To put this in perspective, I have seen a lot of losses to the Green Bay Packers. This is just the third win that I have experienced over the Packers because I started to become a fan late in the 2013 season. So I missed their win against Green Bay in 2013. So I've only seen them win 3 times. Funnily enough, 2 of those at Lambeau. I started this channel back in 2020 as a response to being out on my own for the first time in my life. I was a freshman in college and needed an outlet to be able to get my perspective out there about the Bears and the Blackhawks. And now here we are 5 years later, and I've graduated college, and this is the first time that I've experienced, and you guys will experience me talking about a Bears win over the Green Bay Packers. This is actually the first time I'm going to bring my phone out to go and read off a couple stats, because there's no way I'm going to remember these numbers. From CHGO, I'll put it up on the screen here. From the CHGO Bears Podcast Twitter account, last road win on a Sunday, 1,106 days ago, on the road in Seattle the day after Christmas with Nick Foles as the starting quarterback. Last win versus the Packers, 2,212 days ago, at home to clinch the NFC North in 2018 with Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy. Last win in Green Bay at Lambeau Field, 3,328 days ago, 2015 Thanksgiving. The Packers are retiring Brett Favre's number, and they host the Bears on Thanksgiving night. Jay Cutler goes out and wins the football game. Tracy Porter picks off Aaron Rodgers late, and then Aaron Rodgers gets another shot, and for the first time in what seemed like an eternity, he didn't get it done. And then last win in a season finale against the Packers, 14,994 days. Now that's a bit more specific. It doesn't happen every year. I can only count twice or 3 times that it's happened since I started becoming a Bears fan. So, it all depends on when the scheduling works out, but that streak is over as well. So 4 absolutely massive streaks. Oh, by the way, also breaking a 10-game losing streak. Mind you that, just in general. This win is absolutely massive for morale for the entire team going into the offseason. Now, to those who try to strike the Bears down even when they win and try to complain about it being against the Packers' backups and it's not a real win, I can tell you right now, just shove it. I do not care. I really do not care. Oh my gosh, shut up. The Bears ended up winning the football game, which is something they haven't done against the Packers the last, 11 times they've tried. So I'm going to take this win. I don't care how they get it done. They just needed to find a way to break that streak. And Caleb Williams wins his first game in Lambeau Field. Now, I understand why the Packers pulled a couple, and it's not like they pulled every starter. They pulled 2 major starters. Jordan Love tweaking his elbow in the second quarter, I think it was. And he was gripping his hand. He was gripping like this pinky finger and everything. And I was like, what in the world? How did he hurt his hand? Because we were watching on a sack that he took. And he hit his elbow on a teammate's helmet. And that must have caused some sort of damage. He did not return to the game. Though it felt like several times they were saying that he was going to come back in this football game. So Malik Willis was playing the majority of the game. And the play before, Christian Watson went down with a non-contact injury, which, that stinks. Like, just removing the rivalry for a second, that stinks for Watson. Coming back after an injury and in your first game back, in a game that, honestly, if I'm the Packers, I would have sat him. Because he went down again. You want that guy in your playoff game, because you've already clinched the playoffs. You want him to play in the playoffs regardless of what seed you are. And it looks like most likely they aren't going to get that. Because he was carted off the field I don't know how serious it is, but uh, the way that I'm thinking about it, I don't think he's going to be playing in Philadelphia next week because, of course, that is what the repercussions of losing this game is for Green Bay. And because those were two bang injuries, that was the moment where Matt LaFleur decided to pull Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs did rush for a touchdown. He's rushed for a touchdown in 8 straight games, most by a Packer all time. This might actually be the best Packers running back season ever. Maybe, I don't know. Packers historians would know in their own perspective, but especially with what I've seen, this is the best Packers running back season I've ever seen. And so they pulled Josh Jacobs, and it's not like they would have needed him. Emmanuel Wilson and Brooks ran right all over this Bears defense. They picked up over 50 yards apiece, and Wilson ran for a touchdown as well. So I don't want to hear it about the Bears beat the backups. They started their starters, and the Bears were up 14-3 by the time most of their starters were pulled. So I don't want to hear it because the Bears were in front for pretty much the entire game. There were about 54 seconds where the Packers were in front at the very end. The Bears controlled the lead throughout the entirety of this game, which we've seen this story before, especially in Lambeau. You go back to 2018, where the Bears had a 20-3 lead going into the fourth quarter and still found a way to lose that football game. So it's not like the Bears have, but to be fair, the Bears have kind of stunk in Lambeau since then. They've kind of gotten beat pretty comfortably in the majority of the games since then. But, man, that was tight. And I'm just sitting there at the end like, why does every game with this team have to be this close? Can they just go out and beat us 35-7 if they're going to win? Parts of that second half were some of the most stressful moments of my life as a Bears fan. Mainly because I just want to beat the Packers. And Packers fans want to beat the Bears. It's very simple. And that's what rivalries are. And those games have been the most stressful for me as a fan for the last handful of years, especially because the Bears haven't been making the playoffs. But man, that was, I was shaking. Like my palms were so sweaty the entire time. I was so nervous. Which is kind of funny because this game in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter that much. Because the Commanders won their game anyways, which meant that the Packers, even if they had won today, still have to play on the road in Philadelphia as the 7th seed in the NFC for the second straight year. The thing is, it's one of those things where you just don't care. You want to win that football game because of the rivalry and because of the history. And they broke the streak. Enough of just the gut reaction here. Let's just talk about the game in general because I do want to actually talk about this game. This game had a little bit of everything. I mean, this game was bonkers all over the place. Weird, fluky plays happening over and over all the way. And it starts with a punt return touchdown. Josh Blackwell does what Johnny Knox did, like 12 years ago? I think it was 2011. I think that's when Devin Hester and Johnny Knox pulled off a fake punt touchdown for the Bears that got called back. And it counts this time. They just run to the wrong guy. DJ Moore's back to receive the punt. And Josh Blackwell is out in the corner receiving the punt and takes it all the way. And he pretty much jogged the entire time, too. Like, there was zero coverage from the Packers. And what a disaster start for their special teams here. They give up that punt return touchdown. And on the punt prior, their first punt, the snap went over the punter's head, and he got it off. Very impressive job. But that was nearly a disaster in itself as well. But that's the first of many, many fluky plays in this game. So a couple things as a result of that play. It was the first time the Bears had held a lead at any point in a football game since the first quarter of Week 12 against the Minnesota Vikings. They had not held a lead since, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But if you think about it a little bit harder, you're like, no, yeah, you're right. And then the second one, at the end of the first quarter, the Bears had the lead 7-3. It was the first time that a football team in the NFL had led at the end of the first quarter after gaining negative yards. The Bears had negative total yards at the end of the first quarter. It was the first time a team had led at that point with negative yards since 1994. Been 30 years since that's been done. I mean, unreal. But that's like the most Bears stat of all time. Again, the Bears offense this year, the entire story on why they have had to claw back so many times. Well, they have terrible starts to football games. Their offense just is awful at the start of football games. I mean, that touchdown was like the second the punt return touchdown, I think, was the second touchdown the Bears scored in the first quarter at all, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. So the Bears lead at the end of the first quarter, and by the way, they had the ball inside the Packer 20 to start the second quarter because Jalen Johnson with a peanut punch on Jaden Reed to force the fumble. Jonathan Owens recovers. He's had a sneakily pretty good year. He's come up with a couple big plays. Of course, he's a punt block touchdown week 1, has a fumble recovery against the Vikings, has a pick, and he has this fumble recovery against the Packers in his old building when he played with Green Bay. And that's pretty good. Good for him. I don't know if they keep him, but, he made his presence known as a backup for this team. Very happy for him. And the Bears punched it in the end zone. That was another thing that the Bears had struggled to do all year. Put points on the board after takeaways. And they put it in the end zone. DeAndre Swift with a rushing touchdown. Pretty insane stuff, man. That was... and of course, we're all just sitting there like, wow, they have a 14-3 lead in Lambeau. That's nice. But we've seen this a couple times before in the past, and they've blown it every time. So we're like, you know what? Good start. Good start. I'm liking the way that they're playing. They're actually not playing like trash to start a football game. Then in the second quarter, Jordan Love and Christian Watson and Josh Jacobs get pulled after Jacobs scores a touchdown. And then it's Malik Willis with Emmanuel Wilson, the third string running back Brooks, with Jaden Reed still in, Dontavian Wick still in, Malik Heath, Bo Melton, and that's the offense. And they're able to still make a couple fluky plays. Like, I'm telling you, I saw a tweet from Adam Hogue earlier, right after the game ended. I've never seen a more accurate statement in my life. The Packers' strategy of just chuck it up and go deep, chuck a deep ball against the Bears, always works. And it's so ridiculous. Just chuck it up there. They're going to make the catch. And there were two of those instances in this game. One in the first half with Jaden Reed on a complete duck from Malik Willis. But Jaden Reed with great ball tracking skills hauls it in. And that's the first one. And the second one comes in the fourth quarter where Malik Willis just chucks it up for Malik Heath, and he makes a nice catch on third and forever. And then they score a touchdown on the next play. So their strategy of just chuck it deep sometimes, it works every time. And it is the most infuriating thing to watch. But the Bears hold the lead at halftime. The Packers are forced to kick another field goal after the Jacobs rushing touchdown. The Bears in front 14-13 at the break. And they get the ball to start the second half. You feel pretty good. Caleb Williams has not been allowed to sling the ball in this first half. That's what you're thinking there. The offense was slow and sluggish again, but they find a way to have the lead with a couple of huge plays from the defense and special teams to get the Bears in position to put points on the board. And they do nothing with it on their first drive of the second half. In fact, neither team can produce any points with the football in the third quarter. A goose egg on both sides, and it stays 14-13 going to the fourth. But the big highlight of the third quarter, you're going to be seeing this on hard hits, highlights for years to come. Kevin Byard on a safety blitz, pushes away from the chip block from Tucker Kraft, and just blows up Malik Heath. Malik Willis, the other Malik on the Packers. And he blows him up, loses the football. TJ Edward picks up the fumble. And, that is one of the hardest hits that will actually count. That is one of the hardest hits that will be legal in the NFL right there. That was unreal. A true hit stick. No way. And it's like the pocket awareness was not there for Malik Willis. Free rush on his front side, not his blind side, and he just blows him up. And the Bears get the football. Of course, they can't do anything with it. But the Packers fumbled the ball twice in this game, and they were two big takeaways for the Bears defense. The Bears turned the ball over twice as well. Of course, those who watched the game know exactly what I'm talking about. The Keenan Allen trick play. I don't hate the call. Didn't hate the idea of, all right, we've been trying to get like more vanilla offense. Let's try something cute on first down. They try the double reverse. Allen wants to throw, and instead of just throwing it out of bounds, he tries to hit DeAndre Swift on the sideline, where the Packers have really nice layers in their secondary, and Xavier McKinney will have the easiest interception of the season. His 8th, it's just ridiculous. But he has been in a bit of a drought, and it's his 8th interception of the year, and it's just one of the worst throws I've ever seen from a Bears quarterback. But it's not even like a Bears quarterback. It was a wide receiver. But the idea of just still deciding to throw the football and not throw it out of bounds was really frustrating, because it was after a 4th and 5 completion from Caleb Williams to Roschon Johnson, and in the next play they turned the ball over. And then we'll get to the other one in a second, but I want to take you through the mind of my mind as we get close to the end of this football game. Look, we're inside 4 minutes, and the Bears, after scoring their 3rd touchdown of the game on Caleb Williams' 20th touchdown pass of the year to DJ Moore. Now, to be fair, DJ Moore did all the work, because it was a nice screen pass that he took 32 yards to the house. And it was like the one screen pass that wasn't like completely obvious that it was going to be a wide receiver screen. And what do you know? He's got some blocking and he goes all the way for a touchdown. What a shocker. Anyways, Bears up 8 points after they failed 2-point conversion, but able to kick the extra point because the Packers were holding on said conversion attempt. I've seen this happen so many times. Bears up late in the 4th or in the 4th at all against the Packers, and they find a way to lose. And all starts with the Malik Willis 3rd and 21 deep ball to Malik Heath. Malik to Malik. And it's just the black magic strikes again. From that moment, I knew they were scoring a touchdown on that drive, and it didn't even take like 3 plays. It was the very next play. Emmanuel Wilson runs in for a touchdown. But, you're sitting like, okay, they got to go for 2. They got to go for 2. And then Malik Willis has the ball slip right out of his hands. Because and then you watch the play over, you're like, maybe he gets it to Jaden Reed, but TJ Edwards is getting over there to try and maybe make a play on it. Of course, we'll never know what happens because Malik Willis lost the handle on the football, and it falls harmlessly to the turf. Or the grass, whatever the Packers use. Which, by the way, there were a couple of moments like that in this game. The Packers punter having a ball go over his head early in the game. Caleb Williams on the first snap having it go through his hands. And that was the only sack Caleb Williams took in the game, by the way. He only took 1, and it was on the very first offensive play. So good on Caleb Williams to be able to throw the football away, get out of sacks, and turn them into maybe a couple yards on a run, or dump it away. He did a good job in this game getting out of sacks. And then the Bears have the football with a 2-point lead with under 4 minutes left. And you're like, oh my God, just run the clock out. Do not give the Packers the ball again. And then we hit the 2-minute warning. They are actually able to get some good blocking on the run with DeAndre Swift. Gerald Everett coming in as an extra blocker in the backfield, helping out. And DeAndre Swift actually able to get some decent runs on first down. And then the 2-minute warning hits. It's a first down. Packers have all 3 timeouts. They're like, okay, please, just one more first down and the game is over. Then there's a holding call on Gerald Everett. Now you're at 1st and 20. You're like, shoot, you're kind of in a situation where you want to pass it because it's the only way you're probably getting 20 yards in 3 plays. Then they decide to run a wide receiver screen for probably the 50 millionth time in the game. And this time, for some weird reason, there is 0 blocking to help out DJ Moore. He catches it. Valentine hits his helmet on the football. It's a catch and a fumble, and the Packers recover inside Bears territory. And the entire room is just, oh, well, there it is. That's game. And I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of Bears fans felt as well. The Bears only had 1 timeout. It was under 2 minutes. And you're like, well, that's game. Packers can just run out, and they can kick a field goal right here for the win. Oh, but here's the grave mistake. A rarity for Matt LaFleur against the Bears. Obviously, he's 11-0 against the Bears. The Bears had never beaten Matt LaFleur. He throws a pass to, I think it was Heath. He catches it, short gain. And then Wilson, I think, gets a couple yards. But I'm really looking at the 3rd and 2 play. The clock is running. The Bears decide not to use the timeout. And the Packers snap the football with 20 seconds on the play clock. They give it to Wilson. He loses yardage. And then the Packers are the ones that take a timeout on 4th and 4 to try and think if they're going to go for it or if they're going to kick it. They were showing a camera shot of LaFleur and Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach for Green Bay, talking it over and kind of almost arguing a little bit. Matt LaFleur wanted to go for it. He didn't. They send out Brandon McManus for a 55-yarder. No chip shot. And he hits it. It's a line drive. It curved left for a little bit, and then it went right back through the uprights, and the Packers lead 22-21. Of course. Here's something you don't say very often about Bears quarterbacks. They left Caleb Williams too much time. There was a little over 50 seconds to go in the game when they kicked the field goal. And they paid the price for it. Caleb Williams draws a horse collar tackle penalty on the first play of the drive. Then he's able to move the ball down the field. A very nice throw and catch from Odunze on the sideline. Classic. Sit on the sideline and put your arms out. Immediately go out of bounds. And they're able to move the ball. And it's and the way that I was thinking about going into that drive was that Caleb Williams was not being allowed to throw the ball downfield. I couldn't tell you like maybe three passes that he threw more than 10 yards down the field. The scheming was just terrible. Very conservative all game long. And when they had to get aggressive, Caleb Williams delivered. And Caleb Williams in this series, able to escape the pocket and rush for about 2 or 3 yards. They get the timeout. He then escapes a sack and is just barely able to get the ball out of his hands enough to close enough target in Cole Kmet to keep the clock, to stop the clock and avoid an intentional grounding penalty. And then the next play, with the clock being stopped, DJ Moore goes on for an illegal shift. And because the clock is stopped, no 10-second runoff, 15 seconds left in the game, it's 3rd and 11. And Caleb Williams with a 3-receiver like I formation on the what would have been his right side. I just pointed left, of course. He throws to DJ Moore one-on-one on the easy slant. They get down there, they spike it with 2 seconds left, and it's like this is the first time they've had really good execution in a very late game scenario. You go back and think about Washington, Green Bay the first time, Detroit, and then Green Bay the second time. They get the spike with 2 seconds left, and it's a 51-yarder. Oh no. It comes down to a kick yet again, with the Packers up 1 again. Oh no. Here we go again. Can he redeem himself after the blocked kick? It's a 51-yarder. It's longer than the one he kicked in Chicago that got blocked. And you're like, just please have this thing get over the line. It's on the way. He gets it over the line. And it goes through. And the Bears win in Lambeau for the first time in 9 tries and beat the Packers, period, for the first time in 12 tries. And it's just pandemonium. Santos celebrating, the entire team running off the bench, knowing how much this means not only for this specific Bears team, the Bears franchise, the fans. It's a huge moral victory to end the season on a winning streak, on a win, after losing 10 straight and then 11 straight to the Packers. An unreal finish. For the first time this season, the Bears found a way to win. And Thomas Brown, he goes 1-4 as Bears head coach, but he's 1-0 against the Packers, which means that Matt Eberflus still remains the only head coach in Bears history to never beat the Packers. This game had it all. Late drama, a dogfight between 2 rivals, not to mention the fluky plays itself, a fake punt return touchdown, the punter on one team having the punt go through his hands and getting it away. You have all 4 turnovers were a bit weird. You got a peanut punch, a wide receiver throwing a pick. You have a wide receiver screen turning into a fumble. You have a quarterback getting absolutely blown up. You have a throw from Caleb Williams that bounces off of Johnson's helmet and DJ Moore catches it behind the line of scrimmage. You have a duck that gets caught with good tracking from Jaden Reed. I mean, there's so much in this game. You had a horse collar penalty. You had a couple of really interesting, you had a Packers challenge in a place where they shouldn't have even had to challenge the play in the first place. I mean, this game had everything. Don't worry, there's probably some other weird, wacky stuff in that game that I missed. But I cannot believe that they finally won a football game. I'm almost like I almost can't believe it. I watched the drive again like 2 or 3 more times. My heart rate was still rising when it got to that point where Saints was going to kick the field goal. The amount of times I've seen the Bears fall apart at the end against the Packers and lose, only for them now to finally find a way to win and come out with a victory. I'm on cloud 9 right now. So Matt LaFleur drops to 11-1 against the Bears. Oh, boo-hoo. No one beats the Bears 12 times in a row. And then technically Jordan Love gets the start, so he's going to get the loss for this game. His first loss against the Bears, which would make him 3-1. And then Caleb Williams, 1-0 in Lambeau. I mean, that's a good sign for a rookie quarterback. Win in Lambeau, your first time out there. It's not an easy place to play. But he's got ice in the veins, leads the drive, and this time they finish. Caleb Williams becomes the first Bears quarterback to go into Lambeau and win and finish with a 70% completion percentage, 0 picks, and a 95 passer rating. Never been done in a Bears win at Lambeau. And he's a rookie. Pretty good stuff. He's the first Bears quarterback to win at Lambeau since Jay Cutler, which that kind of tells you all you need to know. And he's the first Bears quarterback to beat the Packers, period, since Mitch Trubisky, who also started a football game today for the Buffalo Bills. So I've got a couple more stats for you. Caleb Williams in his rookie season finishes with 3,542 passing yards. 5th in team history as a rookie. That tells you all you need to know about Bears quarterback history. A 62.5 completion percentage, completing 5 of every 8 passes he throws. 20 passing touchdowns to just 6 interceptions, an 87.8 passer rating with 489 rushing yards. A really nice stat line for Caleb Williams. Unfortunately, could not pick up more victories on the season, but you look at some of these games and how many more of these games could they have won, right? Because there are plenty of opportunities for them to win a couple games down the stretch in this 10-game losing streak that they found ways to lose every time. So, it's just a rough season for Williams, but he ends it on a high note, beating the Packers in Lambeau. And that's a pretty good stat line. It's a great stat line considering it's Bears quarterback history. But you know what, another thing? He's the first Bears quarterback to throw for over 3,000 yards, throw for 20 touchdowns, and throw fewer than 10 interceptions. First Bears quarterback ever to do that. That's it's been 105 years and no one has just stumbled into 3,000 yards, less than 10 picks, and 20 touchdowns. Caleb Williams has broken so many records, not just rookie records. He broke mostly every single significant rookie record in Bears quarterback history. He was breaking Bears quarterback history records that have stood for years and years and years. If this guy gets a real coach, he's going to be good for a long time. Now, I know this video is basically a mini podcast episode at this point, and I want to try and wrap this thing up here. I'm going to save most of the postseason, what should the Bears do in the offseason talk for another video, because I could go on for a long, long time and just prolong this video more and talk about what the Bears need to do in the offseason to compete next year. But I'm gonna keep that for another video and try and just wrap this thing up here. Look, this win means something to me. It means something to me, damn it. I was a junior in high school the last time the Bears beat the Packers. I've graduated college. That's all I need to say right there. And then, as for a win in Lambeau, I was even younger. If I'm correct, I was in 8th grade. I've graduated college. Need I say more? This win means something to me. And I could not be happier today. I do not care about falling one spot in the draft. Do not care. The Bears won against the Packers for the first time in over 2,000 days. Breaks the longest losing streak or win streak, the way you look at it, in series history. This means something to me. And I'm so happy today. I finally got to share my thoughts on my favorite team winning against my team's most hated rival for the first time on this channel. Which is kind of sad to think about it. You know, this is the 5th year of me doing videos. This is how it ends. A great end to the 5th season of the Bears fan reaction series here. So, yeah, I am ecstatic. And this has me thinking that this game and this win is going to supply me for the next 7 months until the next Bears game. I'm telling you, this thing, I'm going to live off of this win right here. The Bears tried to give this game away so many times. Caleb Williams threw for under 150 total yards. The Bears tried to give this game away like they have so many other times against this Green Bay team. Caleb threw for under 150 yards and a touchdown. I mean, they found a way. They found a way to win at long last. And what a way to go out. A huge win, and so thus ends another, frankly, terrible season of Bears football. This Bears team will not own the longest in-season losing streak in franchise history at 11. They tie it at 10, sharing the record with the 2022 Bears, who were objectively a much worse football team. Let's not kid ourselves. The skill position groups on that team, not good. But they finished 5-12, and what do you know? The team had 2 more wins last year and had a better draft pick than they will this year. The Bears finished 5-12. They'll have the 10th overall pick. They finished 7-10 last year and had the 9th overall pick, along with Carolina's first, which was the 1 overall pick. The Packers go 1-5 in division play, and so do the Bears. And, you kind of come away with this win feeling pretty good. It's just, you get some joy out of this season after a long and hard season to watch. So many bad losses, so many heartbreaking losses. It just never felt like they just went into a football game and just got beat. They'd always get demolished or lose in heartbreaking fashion. And this time, they won in thrilling fashion for the first time this season. So I've been talking for a long time, maybe too long, but I just don't know what this feeling is like to talk to you all, wonderful people, about a Bears win over the Packers. It's incredibly significant to me, which is a big reason why I wanted to talk about this for as long as I did. So if you watched it all the way through, thank you. And if you watched this season, thank you very much. Because I love making these videos. I love getting a chance to talk about the Bears. And hopefully next year is when they make that leap to contention. It all starts with who they get at head coach. They got to make the right hire. I can talk more about that in another off-season video here shortly. But for now, bear down, baby. The Bears beat the Packers. I can't believe it. I'm so happy. So this ends the 5th season of whatever this is, the Bears fan reaction series, if you want to call it. And thank you so much to everyone who has watched throughout the year. If this is your first season getting involved and getting familiar with my channel, thank you very much for tuning in. If you've been here for a couple years, thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot. I'll try to have some more off-season content this year, for real this time. It's all going to start pretty soon with what happens tomorrow and Black Monday with the coaches and all that stuff. And then we'll assess where the Bears are going into the offseason. And that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a like. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content from me throughout the offseason and more Bears content in general. Keep the conversation going in the comments section, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.